The National D-Day Memorial, dedicated to the men and women of the greatest generation, is located in southwest Virginia, bordering the Blue Ridge Mountains. But why? In this video, we will learn the story and learn how and why this magnificent memorial sits on a hill overlooking the small town of Bedford, Virginia, and the valley beyond. The memorial itself covers 9 acres of the 88 acres set aside by the town. It officially opened on June 6, 2001, with a ceremony attended by President George W. Bush and receives about 60,000 visitors a year.
Okay, welcome to another episode of Get Out and Explore with John. Today, we are going to a very special place, something that's been on my list of things to do for quite some time. I'm finally getting to do it, so I wanted to bring you all along with me because this is some place that's really special for all Americans, and you should try to make every effort to get out here and pay your respects to these people. These soldiers, men and women alike, they sacrificed everything for us, and today we are at the National D-Day Memorial in Bedford, Virginia. So let's go take a look at the memorial. That's it. Let's go take a look at this memorial. It's going to be probably a very humbling and sombering experience, but definitely want to go and pay my respects.
As you enter the memorial, you will pass through what is known as Victory Plaza. You will come upon a truly inspirational statue known simply as Valor, Fidelity, and Sacrifice. Here you can place a small flag in tribute to the fallen soldiers. The statue sets the mood for what you are about to experience. The inspiration for the memorial began with retired D-Day veteran Bob Slaughter. He was one of the primary catalysts in getting the memorial created. After attending many soldier reunions, he was concerned that there was very little public awareness of what took place on June 6, 1944, and was worried that his brothers in arms who gave their lives on that day would be forgotten. So he and some other veterans formed a committee in 1989 with the goal of creating a lasting monument to D-Day somewhere in the United States. Under the memorial arch, we see this small statue known as the Final Tribute, or the Battlefield Cross. It honors the fallen soldier with its inverted rifle and bayonet, the soldier's helmet on top with its dog tags. This signals a time for prayer, as whenever you see this, you know we've lost another brave soldier. The total number of Allied forces involved in the invasion that day included over 150,000 men from the 12 Allied countries involved in the invasion, 11,000 planes, 5,000 ships, and 185 Sherman tanks. Unfortunately, there were over 10,300 casualties. Of those, 4,413 died. The ship's bell that we see here in front of us pays tribute to the Allied Naval, Coast Guard, and Merchant Marines' versatility and the roles that they played in the D-Day invasions, from the planning stages to the support role afterwards. The ship's anchor that we see here weighs an estimated 3,200 pounds. As you descend the curved ramps on either side of the memorial, you will come to the second level, known as the Gray Plaza. It reflects the landing and fighting stages of the invasion. It includes what is called the invasion pool, with beach obstacles in the water, sculptures of soldiers struggling ashore, and the representation of the Higgins craft used in the invasion. This area also includes intermittent jets of water spurting from the pool, replicating the sights and sounds of sporadic gunfire. Here's the view most of the soldiers would have seen as they exited the Higgins boat trying to get to the shoreline. An estimated 1,500 Higgins boats were used to bring troops and supplies from the ships to the beaches at the water's edge. If you look closely at either end of the invasion pool, you will notice a tetrahedron, or more commonly known as head chalk. This is depicting some of the obstacles that slowed the delivery of troops by the landing craft. Here we see a restored L-3 aircraft, nicknamed the Grasshopper, because of its similarity to the insect. It bears the marking of the Allied Air Forces.
reminiscent to the colors of the Overlord Arch, signaling to the ground gunners below that these indeed were friendly forces. These aircraft were used at Normandy for light observation and reconnaissance, and aided in the adjustment of the field artillery fire. The canvas hull covering the skeleton of the aircraft offered little in the way of protection for the two-man crew, but its offsetting advantage was that when struck by enemy projectiles, they would simply pass right through, and the aircraft was able to proceed on to its objective. As you make your way back to the center of the memorial, you will come across another bronze statue. This one, aptly named Scaling the Wall, depicts 4 U.S. Army Rangers pulling themselves up and over the cliff, just as they did on the D-Day beachhead at Point du Hoc, and on to Allied victory. Additionally, at the water's edge of the invasion pool, you will see 3 additional sculptures. From left to right, they are named Death on the Beach, Across the Beach, and Through the Surf. Here's another view of the granite Higgins boat from the upper end of the plaza. Just behind the invasion pool area, you will walk across the gray concrete plaza, representing the crossing of the English Channel. It is broken up into 5 sections, each representing one of the 5 beaches of the invasion. The beaches were known as Gold, Juno, Sword, Utah, and Omaha, and they covered a 50-mile stretch of the Normandy beaches. This was the largest amphibious assault in world history. The focal point of the memorial is the large granite Victory Arch, which is 44 feet 6 inches tall in remembrance of the June 6, 1944 date of the invasion. It is inscribed with the word Overlord, which was the military code for the invasion itself. The alternating black and white stripes on the top of the arch are in reference to the identification stripes painted on the Allied aircraft during the invasion. The arch celebrates the surrender of Nazi Germany after 5 long years of war. At the rear of the gray plaza, you will see 2 long arcing walls. Plaques on these walls will have the names of each of the fallen soldiers of the invasion. Of the 4,413 that were killed in fighting that day, 2,502 were Americans and are listed on the west wall. On the east wall, you will find the names of 1,913 Allied troops from the 12 other nations that were involved in the invasion. And finally, you will come to the Reynolds Garden, which symbolizes the planning and preparation activities for the invasion through the execution of the order for the invasion. It is in the shape of the Supreme Headquarters Allied Expeditionary Force combat patch. As you enter the garden, the path will lead you past the bronze busts representing many of the generals who oversaw the planning and execution of the invasion. When you reach the end of the garden, you will come to this beautiful gazebo. In it stands a statue of Dwight Eisenhower, the Supreme Commander of the Allied forces. At any given time during the war, Eisenhower had over 3 million men under his command. Looking up at the ceiling, you will see a mosaic tile map of the entire D-Day invasion. Looking back at the memorial from this point, you see the 3 phases of the invasion. First, the planning phase, then the execution phase, and finally, the Overlord Arch, representing the victory over the Axis powers in World War II. The bench here in the quiet Gold Star Family Memorial Garden gives time for reflection of those lost. And now the reason we're here. On June 6, 1944, Operation Overlord, which was the code name for the invasion, commenced in Normandy, France. Among the first wave of soldiers who landed on the beaches were 34 young men, National Guardsmen from Bedford, Virginia. Their unit, the Company A of the 29th Infantry Division, was chosen to lead the attack on Omaha Beach. 19 of those men were killed by the end of the day, and 4 more were killed later in the war. They are collectively known as the Bedford Boys. The little town of Bedford had a population of about 3,200, which meant that the town suffered proportionally the highest percentage of casualties of D-Day loss of any community in the country. Thus, Congress recognized and bestowed the town of Bedford to be the location of the National D-Day Memorial. Well, that's going to do it for the tour of the D-Day Memorial here in Bedford, Virginia. What a beautiful and somber memorial to all of the brave men and women who served on D-Day and any other war. I'm glad I came. It makes me feel good to come and pay tribute and honor to these guys and ladies. And I really encourage anybody that sees this, if you're in the area, to please come and visit this and pay your respects also. So until next time, like I always say, you never know what you're going to see when you get out and explore with John.